Omer and then jump into our topic for this evening. Please join with me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat haomer. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who sanctifies us with commandments, commanding us in the counting of the Omer. And we announce our day of the Omer, first in Hebrew, Hayom Tisha Asar Yom Shehem Shnei Shavuot V'chamisha Yamim LaOmer, which means that today is the 19th day, which corresponds to 2 weeks and 5 days of the Omer. So we are still on our topic of Shomrei Guf, or Shmirat Haguf, caring for our bodies. And today I want to talk a little bit about sort of the inequality that exists in our country around the very idea of where we get our food. So there's a teaching from the Jerusalem Talmud that says it's forbidden to live in a city that does not have a vegetable garden. And we understand this to mean that the rabbis, as I've talked about other days this week, that the rabbis absolutely saw our physical health and well-being as crucial parts of living a whole life, of being able to take care of ourselves so that we can take care of our world. And food is an essential part of staying healthy, diet and nutrition. And yet we know that for so many people in our country, it's not just about making the choice to eat healthy. The stat that I heard most recently is that 1 in 4 kids don't know where their next meal is going to come from. And I'm not even sure if that was pre-pandemic. I think that might be pre-pandemic. And we know how many families rely on the meals that schools provide. And so the pandemic has made it that much worse. So I want to recommend a film, another documentary called A Place at the Table. This film came out, I think it was about 8 years ago. And it used to be on Netflix. I think it's only available to rent on Amazon right now, but worth the rent. It's so interesting and really sheds a light, even though it is 8 years old. I think it's a little dated. It's still sadly, very relevant. The issues that it deals with, food inequality, food insecurity, food deserts, places where people don't have access to local fresh produce, and why it is they're in places where they don't have access to that. And so I just want to encourage you to learn more about that, all the different issues around food insecurity. And for an extra little bonus, if you're up for a little challenge, there's an online game. The website, I'll drop it in the chat. The website is playspent.org. Play, P-L-A-Y, spent, S-P-E-N-T.org. I've used this a lot with my students when we are learning about not just food insecurity, but just about economic injustice in general, because it's all intertwined. But PlaySpent is an online simulation game where you have to try to survive a month, and it has lots of information that pops up as you're playing the game, and you have to make choices about what type of job you're going to have and where you live and how you're going to pay for certain things. And it's just sort of brings to light how challenging it is for so many people to make ends meet on a month-to-month basis. And so it just makes it that much harder to make healthy choices around food, because A Place at the Table digs into this more, but because one huge issue in our country is that the processed unhealthy food is a lot cheaper than healthy food. So to the extent that we have this teaching from the Talmud, it's that we're supposed to live in a city that has a vegetable garden. I think we can extend that to say that it's also a mitzvah to help everyone, not just ourselves, but everyone have access to healthy nutrition and food. So I encourage you to educate yourself about it more. And think about ways that you can help locally. I've mentioned this before, donating to our free pantry, getting involved with Hope Link. There are lots of ways that you can make a difference. Even a small little action does make a difference locally. So have a great night, Lila Tov. I will